but I wanted to be able to report to you on... Oh yeah, absolutely.
You notice, Fred, I don't do that. Sit back here.
I know, Joe. My voice carries far enough, I think, for that. We wanted to be able to. I wanted to be able to report on where we are. Obviously, all of us look back at the tragedy of on April 24th. And after that, as I think you all know, I ordered a top to bottom review of all of our safety issues on the bus side. Historically, there have been certainly issues around the rail side. That's where a lot of attention has been had and focused. This obviously allowed us to be able to have that kind of same look within the bus side, and we ended up contracting with K&J Safety and Security Consulting for the work. The firm is led by Mr. James Tucci. Did I pronounce that properly, Shelley? Tucci. Who's a nationally recognized safety expert affiliated with the National Safety Council. And what we wanted them to be able to do is to not just look at our practices and from their experience, but be able to also really survey and look at a whole lot of other information that was available, both what other transit properties throughout the nation were doing, what research had come out of the Transit Cooperative Research Board, the TCRP, from the Federal Highway, from the Federal Transit Administration, from the Transportation Research Board, the National Safety Council, which again is a part of where this is the firm has been associated with, as well as the Transportation Safety Institute, and of course APTA, that's the trade association. What I wanted to be able to do this morning is to be able to share with you. Are they handing out to you? Josh, I think, has.
I think Mary has copies with her.
I have them.
Oh, they're there. This is really for you to be able to take with you. I may do some of the highlights of it, but is this phase of the report in terms of what that National Transportation Safety expert has really been able to find. Before turning to the actual report itself, I want to be able to highlight that since April 24th, as we went back and reviewed issues such as left turns, as we reviewed lane changes relatively shortly before left turn or other things, we've made changes, not awaiting some report, but actually made changes. Specifically, one of the things that I think you were generally aware of is that we provide what are called courtesy stops or night stops. And this is allowing individuals to get on or get off the bus where it's safe, but where it might be in fact important for them, that individual, for safety reasons. Maybe it's a dark street or it's an uneven street, the person might be frail or elderly, a whole series of other things. The requirements we've made very explicit, and that is, if there is to be a courtesy stop, you must make that courtesy stop. You cannot make that courtesy stop, I should say, in the negative, within 1 block of a left turn, because we want that person, if they are making a left turn, to be fully focused on the turns they're making and what is in their field of vision. But we've also done, as I said, a number of other things. We closed and rerouted some bus lines at 4th and Hall. That's up by Portland State, where a stop really had a bus going across 3 lanes of traffic to make a left turn in about a 1.5 block distance. We eliminated that stop, rerouted buses. We made some changes to the line 6. I think I reported to you last time as well. That's as you come off the Hawthorne Bridge going east. There is a slip lane that takes you on to Grand Avenue. For us, there is a bus stop about 400 feet away, but it takes 4 lanes of change across that. Now, there's no pedestrian activity allowed in that area. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but it isn't allowed in that area. What we did is we went straight to that lighted intersection at Grand and coming off the Hawthorne Bridge, and then had the bus turn left on that signal. Again, a pedestrian prohibited crossing, but it means then that that bus was able to turn into the far right lane, not needing to be able to cross lanes. We made other changes on the number 6 on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and Mill. We also did some on the line 72 as well, where we really were adjusting because of either long-term construction or something, places where lane changes have occurred. And as I say, those are changes we have already put into place and will continue to revise. Let me turn to the report, and I'm just going to give you highlights. It's about 24 pages, so it's I don't mean to go through each of them. But generally speaking, they found that the programs that are in place at TriMet really are best of the national standards, best of the industry standards. And although that was gratifying in some regards, what we wanted to know was, what can we do to make it even better? And that is what we adopted from them. And I just want to be able to highlight some of those issues that they have recommended. Again, there are lots of details, and there will be more information coming. This is not a completed study, but this stage of that study. One is, as you can imagine, an organization such as us, there's lots of standard operating procedures, SOPs. Most large organizations do as a way to be able to get consistency, and we do. One of the suggestions was that although we have obviously standard operating procedures, to get it into in one place and one pocket-sized place so that all operators and all other users of operators of vehicles can have an easy reference. We thought that was a very good idea, and are proceeding to be able to implement. We have a requirement. This is not obviously as a result of this accident or anything else, but part of the overall review. We have a requirement that operators, if they receive, not operating a bus, but in their private vehicle, a DUI, driving under the influence, that they must report to us. Oftentimes, obviously, if convicted, they lose their license and, as a result, are terminated from TriMet. We require them to report. The recommendation is they should report within 24 hours that, and we said, yes, that does make good sense. Most did, but we want to be able to make that as a requirement. We also have had requirements. Again, this is some of the best of the standard. Anybody who's off for any reason from operating a vehicle for 30 days or more, unless they're on vacation, needs to be able to be retrained, go through a refresher training course. They may be off for a workers' comp. They might be off for a family leave. But if it's more than 30 days, we have required them to go through the refresher. The exception was vacation. The recommendation was, what's different about vacations? If they need a refresher, they ought to have a refresher in any case. We said, yes, absolutely, makes good sense. So we were doing it. Very few people take more than 30 days for vacation, so it's not as if it occurs very often. But again, the type of change that's there. Another one is that under general communications, you can imagine kind of what Carolyn said earlier. There's a construction site. We give special instructions if somebody has to do a detour or a whole series of other things that might be there that are special instructions. What we have done is we, right now, make sure that the operator must confirm that they've received those instructions. The recommendation is that we should also have that the operator gives a readback. That is, that they don't just say, yeah, I got it, but they actually, I got the instructions that tell me to do blank, blank, and blank. And lastly, to be able to have that the dispatcher, who's giving these special instructions, confirms you have and describes what the in fact instructions are. It's just a better way to be able to be assured that it's not just somebody misunderstanding or maybe just saying, oh yeah, I saw that piece of paper, but rather really both being able to confirm it from the person who's gotten the instructions, what it is they got, and to be able to describe it, and then secondly, to be able to be confirming it back to them.